Staff from a Canberra youth support organisation say drug dealers and child sexual abuse perpetrators are targeting school-aged children and supplying them with the drug ice. The PCYC says it's battling a rise in ice use among children as young as 10. Cheryl O'Donnell is the PCYC's Executive Director. She joins us now from Canberra. Cheryl, welcome. So have you yourself come across some children as young as 10 who've used ice?
Morning, Joe, for starters. Thank you for having me on. We actually see young people as young as 10 through to the 14 to 16 year age group that have actually been affected by ice, and a lot of those young people have actually getting the ice in return for sexual favours, or that they will go shoplifting or break and enters, that type of thing.
Yeah. And what's it like for you to see the effect this is having?
It's horrendous. I'm at that stage, I think you just get sick of trying to, pick up the pieces and patching here and there. It needs to be a uniformed approach, but more money put into these early intervention programs to support these young people. There's just never been enough money put into youth projects. And the more money that you spend on early intervention, the less that you're spending further down the track. And it's just getting to that stage where it's, trying to get people to recognise that this is a major issue in the ACT region.
And what's your evidence that pedophiles are involved in this, in the ACT?
Okay. From our side of it, with the young people that actually are either referred or they approach us, or their parents desperately seeking help from us, it's where we've built that reputation, I think, with the young people, and where they feel safe with us. Once they feel comfortable, then the disclosures start coming out. It got to a stage where we had to bring in our own trauma counsellor to start working with the young people. Resources on the ground right across the ACT are stretched, especially when it's working with the youth. So yeah, we've engaged our own trauma counsellor to assist until we can actually get them linked to appropriate services.
Yeah, and without naming any names, can you tell us about an individual story that you've come across that's really disturbed you?
Yeah, I think one of the things is a young girl who was on the streets. It was a family relationship breakdown. She ended up on the streets. She was abused for, being involved with the drugs and that type of thing, so she ended up being sexually abused. That young girl, by the time she got to us, was suicidal. She's self-harming, and it's heartbreaking for all the team, and whether it's a male or a female out there, to watch it going on, the effects that these drugs have, the anger issue that these young people have got. They feel like they're absolutely worthless, that no one cares about what's going on from. These are children. And I'm appealing to those drug dealers, leave these kids alone. They're children. Like, if you've got an ounce of decency about you, leave these children alone.
Yeah, when you got into the PCYC, did you expect that you'd be dealing with situations as bad as this? Not
when I first came over. I came from a big organisation in New South Wales, and while we were working with youth and other programs, I'd always recognised that there was a lack of support for youth projects, and when this position came available, I sort of jumped at it straight away, because I really wanted to push and advocate for these young people with what they're actually going through. When you look at the fact that you've got 1 in 5 that are suffering from mental health issues, 1 in 4 suffer from drug and alcohol, 1 in 3 with domestic family violence. People just don't realise, and anyone that may be walking up the street and they'll see these young people and they're playing up, they may be fighting, or the shoplifting as it goes on. There is usually 99% of the time there's a reason as to why they act out the way they do, and it's about making sure that they do have those supports wrapped around them.
Yeah, and so what is the key to ensuring that support is there?
Our biggest problem, and it's not just in the ACT, and I think it crosses into a number of other states, is suitable accommodation for these young people under the age of 16, and the resources on the ground to deal with that drug and alcohol, to deal with the trauma. We're actually actively trying to get support funding-wise to turn the old Turner site, PCYC, Canberra PCYC Turner site, into accommodation support service for these young people, so that if there's a relationship breakdown at home, that they can actually come to our site and they know they're in a safe place, and we know that they're safe and that they're not on the streets and they're not vulnerable to these people.
Okay, Cheryl, thanks so much for talking to us, and yeah, really tough work there, but good luck with your continuing work there in the ACT.
Thank you, and we'll keep fighting on.
Yeah.